I was at Waffle House at 2 in the morning when this scraggly-looking guy with long gray hair walks in and sat down at one of the tables. One of the waiters comes up to take his order and he yells, "I don't want any damn food." So he sits there for a minute and goes outside to smoke a cigarette. And the whole time he's outside, he's just talking to himself. He comes back in and goes, "Where the fuck is my food?" The waiter tells him he didn't order anything, so he tells her what he wants. As the food is being cooked, he pulls out this big-ass knife and just licks it while staring at the waitress. About this time, she calls the cops, and when they show up, he immediately jumps out of his chair and runs behind the counter and yells, "Call the police," to which the cops reply, "We are the police." Then they tased him and handcuffed him. I'm a cook at the roughest, busiest Waffle House in the Cincinnati area. Anyway, I have a few stories. Story 1. On a Monday or a Tuesday night, I was working as the only cook. There was not a manager, meaning I was the manager. Mondays and Tuesdays are slow at that store at night as it's not a party night. At around 3 or 4 a.m., a guy and his friend walk in. They at first are normal patrons, but eventually they one way or another called my server a hoe. At this point, she begins to argue with them. They come up to the bar and ask for a refund for bad service. At this point, I'm still pretty green, with less than 3 months on the job. I don't know how to take anything off or change the bill at all. But I am upset with their treatment of the server, and say, "Look, I'll take care of the meal. Just get the F*** out of my store." Bad idea. Immediately they got very upset, and began yelling that some white boy, me, wouldn't talk to them that way. I rephrased it, "Please leave." But they started trying to jump the counter. It got very tense with my server standing between me, holding a grill spatula ready to hit the guy and this dude with a leg up on the counter, and his friend trying to pull him out. Sometimes the really crazy shit happens on slow nights like that. Story 2. One night a regular was at the bar, super drunk as per usual. He was a maybe 35-year-old black guy who was always alone. 3 black girls walk in revealing club attire. I was busy cooking and wasn't paying too much attention to the guy or the girls. They ordered to go and sat in the to-go waiting area. He said something to them a few times, making whatever conversation. But I guess he offended one of the girls who began yelling and was getting quite upset. Then out of nowhere this posse of gals gets up and all 3 start yelling at him. And then the first one to yell picks up 2 chairs. Then proceeds to throw them overhand directly point blank at this dude. I am like, WTF is this shit? And my manager and I hurriedly shoo the women out while drunk dude kinda recovers. And then right as we get the girls out the door, he tries to rush outside to get to them. While a server calls 911, my manager holds the door shut, preventing this super pissed guy, who was not small-muscled by any means, from murdering these girls, all while I am on the grill finishing the orders for the rest of the people in the store. I work as a server at a Waffle House in Georgia, and I've had a lot of weird things happen to me while I was on the clock, but this was by far the strangest. All of this is completely true to the best of my memory. I was having a smoke break outside with a group of my regular customers, most of which are kinda rednecks, when a shitty SUV pulls up and 2 dudes get out. One was a skinny ginger who walked straight inside without saying a word to anyone. The other was a black guy with a red flat bill and gold teeth. The black dude walks up and asks the lot of us, "Any of y'all fuck with rap music?" We all turn to face him, and from behind me I hear one of the rednecks shout, "Country music." I'm like, "Whoa, calm down there, it's not a competition." And Gold Teeth repeats his question. I halfway raise my hand and say I do because I was kinda on a hardcore underground hip-hop kick, and it seemed nobody else there really appreciated the art form like I did. Gold Teeth starts asking me if I rap or freestyle, and I tell him I sometimes freestyle in my spare time when the mood strikes. He gets all excited and starts urging me to spit something. I tell him I'm not really feeling it at the moment, and I need an instrumental beat or something, because I'm not that great cold. He just keeps saying, "Spit something, gimme something," and I'm like, "Nah, I really need a beat." I ask him if he raps, and he's all like, "Hell yeah, man." So I suggest that he goes first, and I can spit after him so I can maybe gain some inspiration from something he says. He denies my request and says, "Come on, man, gimme something. 2 bars, just 2 bars," and begins to beatbox rhythmically, which wasn't really helping. But at this point, I just want him to stop asking, so I drop a couple of shitty bars. Something along the lines of rapping about the government, 'Cause you know I'm heaven sent / and it all ain't worth a cent. I trail off. He was like, man, that's not bad. You should pursue that. Or some such garbage, and then decides he's hungry and goes inside just as his buddy from before comes out. White dude notices I'm smoking and asks if he can bum one. I tell him sure and hand him my pack. He opens it and says, I notice you flip a lucky. I always flip 3. You know why? As he pulls a cigarette from the pack. I respond, why's that? He informs me, because everything good comes in 3s. I was like, good point, and still flip 3 luckies to this day. Then he produces an ace of hearts. Yep, know why I have it? Why? You always keep your aces tucked. Ah, nice. As I try to hand it back to him, he says, nah, you can keep that, I have plenty. And I put the card in my pocket. I'm pretty sure it's still floating around my apartment somewhere. We start talking some more, and he asks if I want to continue the conversation in his car. I ask him why we can't just stay out front of the building, and he says something about how it would look less sketchy and you can't talk about everything in front of everyone. So being the adventurous and overly curious young lad that I am, I agree, and we walk over to the SUV he pulled up in earlier and climb in. He in the driver's seat, me on the passenger side. He starts saying something along the lines of, there are only so many enlightened in the world, and like energy attracts like energy, and there's a lot of responsibility in being one of the chosen. He then points to a tattoo of a pyramid on his arm. It's part of this really intricate and colorful sleeve, and asks if I know what it is. I say, a pyramid? Do you know what it means? Not really. Are you a Mason? No? Neither am I. I look at him skeptically and say, uh-huh, sure. Goldteeth comes out of the restaurant and starts walking toward the car. It's clear he's ready to leave. Then Ginger asks if I've ever read The Law of Attraction, and I tell him I haven't. He says, okay. There are 4 books you need to read, write these down. The Law of Attraction, The 48 Laws of Power, Behold a Pale Horse, and Chariots of the Gods. Let me give you my number, it's phone number, and my name's Worm. Call me if you ever need guidance. As I exit the vehicle, I tell him, sure, I'm always looking for wisdom and guidance. He responds, then just thank God every day for what you have, and ask for guidance. He drives away without another word. I asked for and received the books for Christmas and have started on Behold a Pale Horse. It's a really interesting read, and I think I'll call him after I finish all of them. TLDR, I think a guy named Worm tried to recruit me for the Illuminati.